Have you ever thought, do good leaders just come out good, or do they have to go through things to be good leaders? Or maybe you thought, I can't be a good leader. If that's you, I got some solutions for you, and I'm going to tell you through my real life story. Welcome to the Unstuck Podcast. I'm your host, Drew Cross, and today we're going to talk about some things that I got wrong when it comes to leadership, and then I'm going to show you what I did to start doing things better. Number one, I'm just going to start off by saying I'm not perfect. Leadership is hard. Don't let anybody tell you it's not hard. When we study some of the greats like John Maxwell, Jordan Peterson, Jason Wilson, just tons of people who we might study as great leaders, we don't realize that leadership is a developed skill that you have to keep developing. And it's almost like a characteristic trait that you got to keep working on. That in itself could be a little disheartening because it's not like you master it. You're getting better as time goes on. So I'm going to just share some times that I got it wrong and how I started making things better. So if you see me looking down, I just have some notes. So the first thing I got wrong, I'm going to say, and just leading my family and leading a business, was the lack of communication. This wasn't me thinking that I shouldn't communicate. I just realized how much I wasn't. And as a man, we usually like to go into processing and not realizing you're processing, but you're not saying anything to the other party, which can be really, really tricky. I would write, and then I would feel like, all right, I got the answer. But then I wouldn't communicate that, and that brought a lot of tension, and it brought a lot of confusion, because people can see that you're going into these places to think and to strategize, but if you never say anything, they don't know what to do. So I didn't communicate. My communication was lack. Why is that important? What you don't communicate can be communicated to someone and with their own story. They could come up with something totally different and wrong, but you didn't communicate it, so you can't blame them. The second thing is I didn't have a vision, and I used to get not in trouble, but I used to go at it with my wife on this one so much, and it was my fault. I didn't have the vision, and I don't need to have an excuse or give an excuse, but I didn't have a vision because I didn't know what a vision looked like for a family. And she would say, you do it when you write programs for workouts and things like that. It's the same thing. And to me, it wasn't, because with a family, I felt there's emotions involved. There's a higher risk. There's so much involved, and I'm leading other types of people, different personalities, different ages, and all of that stuff. Fast forward into working on that, things did change. We'll get into that later, but I didn't have the vision. And if you don't communicate, you don't have a vision, people are almost just wondering, where are we going? And at what speed? And should I stay on this ship? Because I don't know where we're going, and I don't know what speed we're going. So we're just kind of just trying to live. And I can't tell you how hurtful that is to not have a leader with vision. It's important. It's what invigorates you. It's what keeps you motivated. It's what helps you stay the course. And without that, it's an ugly journey. And I've seen it in my family. I've seen it in my business. Just thinking and not putting things to pen and paper. And let me tell you this, you can always change it. You don't have to always make it be where it's so concrete that you can't change it, or as you get more information, you can't adjust. The third one is I expected what I didn't communicate. So I was thinking that people around me were going to be mind readers. They were not mind readers, nor were they called to be mind readers. What do I mean by that? I would be like, hey, you saw that I had this on schedule, so you should have thought about A, B, and C, which is so wrong, because people are not mind readers, so they're not going to just know what you think they should know. And I think leaders can fall into the trap of that, to think that because they're pressing, because they're grinding, and because they're struggling with something, that everybody else should just know how to pick up the slack. What you don't communicate can't be followed. If you don't communicate it well, it can't be followed. If you don't show it, it won't be followed. I learned that the hard way. So please follow the next parts so you don't do the same thing. I didn't ask for help as a leader. As a leader, you don't have all the answers. And as a leader, I don't think you're expected to have all the answers. I think as a leader, your job should be to do the things that you know and to solicit help when you can. The reason for that is you want to be able to bring people along the journey and bring people who can actually help with the parts that you're not good at. Every leader has a weakness. Every leader has a spot that's a weak spot. Every leader cannot do it all. If you don't ask for help, it's not going to happen. And sometimes asking for help means humbling yourself. Hey, I'm not good in this area. I had to tell my wife a ton of times, I'm not good in this area. You're better. Can you teach me? Can you spearhead it? And that doesn't look like the traditional household or whatever, but the goal is to lead so that everyone can win on the team. The reason why you have a coach, you have a Phil Jackson, the reason why you have Pat Riley is so that people can succeed and people can actually have a better journey. The goal is for the leader to lead the team to win, not to just see if they can do it all. And I had to learn that the hard way. So let's recap, and then I'll show you things that I did to start doing better in this area. Number one, I lacked communication. I was not talking and listening. I was trying to just wing it. Number two, I didn't share a vision. I didn't have a vision, and I didn't share it because I didn't have it. Number three, I expected what I didn't communicate. I was thinking that people are going to be mind readers for some reason. The fourth one, I didn't ask for help. Now, what can you do to reverse those, and what did I do to reverse those? Now, number one, I started having family meetings, and I wish I did this in the business before, where we would get together on a Sunday and we would talk about what's going on in the family. How are you feeling? What are you battling? What challenges are you having? What's some wins? What did we say we're going to work on? How can we support each other? And I cannot tell you how that was grueling. It was not easy the first time because I had to confess to them, hey, I haven't led you guys correctly. I haven't handled you guys properly because I just felt you should follow something that I didn't give you to follow. You had no plan to follow. And they forgave me, and I realized, all right, let's get better in this area. So I started having family meetings once a week. The second thing I did was I started aggressively reading books on leadership and implementing the things that I learned from the books. I didn't wait until it was perfect. I started implementing what I could. I started dissecting what I could, and I started realizing if I can put these things into play, things will get better. I started asking the people who I led for feedback on what they were receiving. And that's hard because at times they may be like, hey, you didn't do that right. You said that and you did something else. You didn't communicate that. You thought you communicated that. I started asking for feedback. Fourth, I started praying about show me where I'm not leading well and how can I do it. And then fifth, I started asking other people who are good leaders around me, how do you do this? How do you see that? And I just started looking for it. What you look for, you'll probably be fine. So if you want to look to be a better leader, look for good leaders around you. Study good leaders who you may see online, and then start calling yourself a good leader and acting out what you think a good leader would do. But the one that helped a lot was the feedback. I asked the people for feedback. Show me what I'm not getting. Show me what I'm doing differently. How can I do this better? How can I lead you better? And all of that is a good place for humility. Now, I'm cool if this video doesn't go viral because I want it to touch one person. I want one man to feel I do have what it takes to be a better leader. This may require some work. This may require some patience, but I have what it takes. And I cannot tell you, when you start to show vision, when you start to show the plan, when you start to communicate what's happening, even in your head, the people who are following you begin to just somehow step into their right place. They begin to step in and be like, hey, I'm good at that. I'll do that. I'm better at that. Let's do it this way. So there is hope. There's hope. If you need help, you need to talk, you need to get something off your chest, hit me up, drewcost.com. Other than that, go be great, guys.